This, a mid-sized K motor throwing 500 pounds of thrust, you have to show the dealer that you're certified by AAA, the governing body of amateur rocketry. And once we're talking about the big boys, clusters of M motors, Ns, and experimental giants like Os and Ps, you've got to be in rocketry's elite. When you're flying on thousands of pounds of thrust, you need to be certified at what is known as Level 3. It's equal to having a PhD in amateur rockets. Letting a novice play around with this stuff would be like giving an Indy car to someone without a license. Got all this down? Good.
I see smoke, I see fire.
Hundreds of launches continue to blast off dozens of pads here in Kansas at Rocket Challenge. Big rockets usually mean big motors, but one team came to Argonia with a big rocket and a lot of little motors, hoping to set a record.
I'm putting together a 17-foot rocket here called Maxi D. It contains 316 Estes D11 motors. This is my last attempt that I did 6 years ago. This is 288 Estes A10 mini engines, of which I got 269 to light. In fact, in this very field here in 1997.
All right, we ready to stand it up? Here we go.
Also in the mix with Maxi D is Bruce Lee. Another day, another record attempt.
Larry's got the record already with the 269. Then Larry and I built this one with the 316D motors to break that record. So basically, Larry and I are trying to break Larry's old record. What we're doing is we're putting the flash pans on. What it is, it's aluminum foil shaped to the motor cluster. So the key here is to make sure that we get enough black powder distributed evenly across the bottom. It all flashes, goes in the motors, and we get all 316 alike. That's really the key. This is the coolest thing about this rocket, is I used to dream in school of putting rockets like this under my chair in my desk and fly myself with a rocket with motors like this underneath it. I always think, how many rocket motors can it take to fly me in my desk chair at school? Rocketry is so exciting. It's a total rush when you fly rockets. In fact, when I drove in today, I saw a rocket going up from a couple miles away, and my heart started beating harder. It's something exciting about rocketry. I can't explain it. I just love doing it, and it's so much fun, and it's the coolest thing you can do, I think. This rocket is so big that the wind is going to really blow it around. That's our main concern, is that it might blow it over on the pad. Now, that's the worst possible scenario, is the wind comes up, we get a gust, and it'll blow it over. That's it. We stop here.
Okay. We're ready to go in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
300 motors push Maxi D off the pad all right. But after that, it's every motor for itself, and the rocket makes a quick detour from the flight plan. Maxi D's launch is good, but since it doesn't touch down safely, they consider it overall a failure.
Damn, this was a nice rocket too. If it works, it's going to be awesome. Even if it doesn't work, it's still pretty awesome. It was pretty exciting. It just didn't have the thrust that we expected, and it didn't get the altitude we expected. And this is part of the fun of rocketry. Is sometimes things work and sometimes things don't. It's all a learning experience. You try something and it works, and if you don't, you learn something. It was a spectacular failure, I guess, is the safest way to say it. So, back to the drawing board on this guy.
Rocket Challenge is brought.
We've experienced giant launches, supersized motors, and flying bowling balls. Now it's time for the ultimate rocket team smackdown. The name of this event is From the Ground Up. 8 separate teams will build a rocket from scratch. They'll paint it, they'll launch it. The fastest one to safely do so wins. Sounds simple.
Good morning, teams. Thank you. My name's Bill Davidson. I'm going to be heading the RSO team for the Ground Up competition today. My main objective here today is to make sure that the rockets recover safely. Fly safely, nobody gets hurt, and we keep it fun.
3, 2, 1, let's build rockets!
The parts are first come, first served in the opening rocket rush.
Where are the parachutes?
Like 3-year-olds at Christmas.
Everyone gets a collection of the basic parts that can be made into a rocket big enough for a mid-size Cicerone K motor. When it's completed, each rocket must be 8 feet long.
Just pick the nose up and hold it waist level, and you'll do a lot better and faster. They're going to try to do everything we can to get that rocket together, to get a motor in it, and keep it together and get it back on the ground. All we wanted to do is launch and recover and bring it back. It's not the kind of rocket you'd send to a museum afterwards.
Team Ad Hoc Rocketry finds out they're undersupplied for this competition. They need to beg, borrow, and steal.
But they changed that with the rules.
Drill bit.
Ad Hoc Captain Charles Luciano's crucial mission: find a tube of epoxy. Scott Danner of Team Loch Ness lends the needed supplies, but there's a twist. He doesn't tell his own captain, Mitch Adamson. Thus begins the great epoxy controversy.
You lied to me, sir. You said you had permission to steal those things.
Scott told me. Scott
Well, I did not tell you. You were taking our equipment and you knew it. Dishonest man.
Scott told me that I could go in that thing. I got a witness here. Carl heard it too. Between you guys, man.
One of the members of the team took a little pity on us and told us that we could have some of their supplies. But now he doesn't want to admit to his teammates that he said that.
The Hillbilly team is using this competition to pass on the rocketry tradition to their youngins.
This is called two-part expanding foam. What we're going to depend on this foam for is it'll put stability into this fin system.
Another one?
See how this one goes. We're going to be pretty good here, I think.
Okay.
So here you go. It's already going. It's all right. Now, come on. We're getting closer to the top. Our foam is occupying our space. We're almost there. And as you can see, we now have a rocket that's very strong. When we put this rear centering ring over the top, it'll just mold it all together.
We're not out to necessarily win, but just to make it's going to be fun. Make a dent.
For Team Rocket Babes, things are going smoothly, or so they think. The judges catch a mistake. By rule, they have a choice: take a penalty or make a fatal error.
We got our first penalty.
Conferred with the Rocket Babes and asked them if they would like to incur a 10-minute penalty to save their project.
We had a part that was in the wrong place, and they caught us before we glued it in.
They said yes, so we pointed out what they did wrong.
We actually got it in the right place now.
Heat is sweltering, and this is a race against the clock.
We're on 19 minutes and counting. 20 minutes and we got people that already looks
Almost
like
done.
a rocket.
Team D&B's is led by 12-year-old Danielle Brown. Her father, Bob, belongs to the group that's hosting this year's LDRS, Cloudbusters. When he's not working on his own rocket, he helps out at launch control.
2 M1419s. Waypad 88. 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's spectacular one way or another.
Now it's Bob's daughter who's in charge. D and the B's have run into a problem. They can't get their nose cone to fit. They try brute force. They try sanding it. But it just won't fit. Finally, success.
Let's get this on.
While from the ground up teams battle to finish their rockets in record time, another record holder is moving on to his next attempt. It's been a roller coaster day for Bruce Lee. He's had success with the world's tallest home-built rocket, and failure with the rocket with the most motors. Now he's going it alone by designing and building a rocket with a nostalgic frozen popsicle paint job. He calls it Bomb Pop.
It's a great day. I can hardly wait. This should be a great flight.
5,
Here we go.
4.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
I love that flame. That was cool.